to turn the camera around. We're going to look inside what my fifth grader will be using this year. I'll also give you some thoughts in high school and show you a couple of those books. Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome to my channel, Learning with Boys. Today I'm going to share, yes, a Matthew C video. You're probably saying, Rachel, why are you doing a Matthew C video? There's tons of them out there. Today I'm hoping to give you a little bit of insight from somebody that's used it over the years with several children of different math abilities. So as I'm showing you this video, I want you to keep in mind that yes, we do love Matthew C. It has not been the only math curriculum we have used. I will link below a video that I have done on all the math that we have used, and maybe that would help you look at some others if you are interested. And I know that other people have their curriculums they love. I just want to share how we use it, if you have questions or have been wondering about anything, and give you some look-throughs. I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to look inside what my fifth grader will be using this year. I'll also give you some thoughts in high school and show you a couple of those books. And I do want to mention that the thing that brought me to this video was I was actually, yes, I'm going to be using Matthew C for my high schooler this coming school year, and I called, just been praying about it, and that is what we've decided on. But when I called, I also asked a question that I've seen or felt like people assume, and that was you can't really start Matthew C unless you start from the beginning. And I feel like she gave me a pretty strong answer. I'm going to share a little bit of that thought when I turn the camera around and show you the curriculum, but I'm also going to link her information below. She wanted me to share it with you all. So if you have more questions, you can go directly to her. I feel confident that she will be better about answering that specific question. She has homeschooled her kids all the way through. So hope that you find something new in this video. Let me know below if you do. And if you like this type of content, homeschool content, curriculum, look-throughs, planning, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. That would encourage me and help me out. And let's turn the camera around and look at inside some of these levels for Matthew C. Okay, we're going to look inside this Epsilon book today and probably at a couple of the other ones, but this is the one that my fifth grader will be using this fall. And just wanted to show you, it says a scope and sequence, so it'll give me a better opportunity to show you exactly what they have and what is in each book. The primer is pretty much sort of like what a lot of people might use for kindergarten, unless they are a little bit already know their numbers and can write their numbers and all that, because alpha begins with the single digit addition and subtraction. Beta is the multiple digit addition and subtraction, so we get to the bigger. Gamma begins the multiplication, and it goes all the way through long multiplication, and division is delta, and that goes all the way through long. And this is epsilon, which will be fractions, and then zeta would be next, and that would be the decimals and percents. And if you remember, this is a mastery, so you're going to master each of these, and then they will be reviewed in each book. So then after zeta is pre-algebra, algebra, stewardship, which I don't really remember that being on the list. I think that is like an option down here. We have never done that. Then there's geometry, algebra 2, and pre-calculus. And I think there is a calculus now because the friend of mine, her daughter has gone through calculus with Matthew C and is now doing an engineering degree. So I feel like it is a very solid math because of the mastery. You really need to be firm in each of these areas before you can move on. Pre-algebra is really great. I don't think there is a problem in jumping into pre-algebra if you're thinking, well, and I think that was one of the questions that brought me to this video is I feel like some people are thinking, oh, that's one of those curriculums you have to start at the beginning. And my oldest started in Gamma, and he had no problem. I definitely feel like it's no problem to start in pre-algebra or algebra because by then you would have these down. And I want to mention, you may think, well, where would my child, if you were going to think grade-wise, which it's hard to look, sometimes it's hard to look at a curriculum and not think grades. So let's think grades, but let's remember that is not what Math UC is about. So if we were to start in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, you'd be taking pre-algebra. Algebra 1 would be an eighth. And that's actually a little bit advanced. So that's why I say you can't really say it's grade-wise, because sometimes you might have to slow down. Sometimes you might be a little bit ahead. Maybe, and you would say according to who or what? Well, according to maybe your friend or your sibling. So that's why I think they don't have grades. Because right now my son is still finishing up Delta so he can start Epsilon. I'm not sure if he'll be ready 100% to start in 5th grade. And that would be fine. It would be fine if he had done Delta in 5th grade, and then 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th he would fall into algebra. So there's lots of options there for that. Okay, so what if I want to start in the middle? I would say they have a placement test, and I would definitely look into that. And also focus on, okay, my son or daughter might know multiplication, but do they know long multiplication? If not, you may want to start in gamma. Please look online and check with the test though first, and make sure they may know multiplication and division, and they don't know long of either. So you still want to start in gamma, but you may just be able to take the tests or just fly through half of gamma just to make sure they know everything. You may not need to do every lesson. And then towards the end, really focus on the long multiplication before you enter into division. And that might be all review at the beginning, and then long division. So you may be able to get both of those done in a year or a year and a half, and then start an Epsilon. That is if you're thinking, wait a minute, I want to start in the middle. But I will tell you, when my oldest did not do the first 3 and started in gamma, he was actually using a Becca, and he had already been introduced to multiplication, but this was still so good because I really think it was more of an eye-opener of how it all worked. So we just went through gamma. Okay. So I shared all that with you, and then just a little look inside. With this one, you will start using these fraction cards that they sell. This is an older set. I think they have them a little bit nicer and a little bit more updated. But so like you would have 2/3, you know, and you can layer them and solve problems. And I want you to know he shows you how to use those. He goes over those in the videos. And even in the teacher's book, adding and subtracting, he's going to show you how to use them. If you need to go back and think, okay, what did he just do? But really, I feel like it's a great tool, especially if they do struggle with fractions. And they might get to the point where it just clicks and they don't really even need to use those. My oldest, once something clicked, he could just go on. And then I had other children that would use them for a little bit longer. I'm just giving you an idea what the teacher's book looks like. Now, there is a video for each of these lessons, but the lessons are in here for you to review or for them to go back and review. Let me show you the student book. I was just going to give you an idea of what you usually will have. We will go to like lesson 5, and what he usually does is it's a review of what he showed you how to do on the DVD, and then you'll have a B, same thing. C is a little bit more detailed on what you've learned. You're putting it all together. And then you have D. So by then, you're putting your fraction lays aside and working on it without looking at those. Now let me tell you, it is absolutely fine if they're still using those. If they are still using those, they need to be doing A, B, C. They need to be doing every lesson, and because this is mastery, so they want to have it down before they move on. And then there's always a review in the back from something that you've already learned, just to make sure you're keeping up. And then these quick reviews will be in the next 2 lessons and what you've learned this week. okay? Then there is an application and enrichment page, which we don't usually do. I will tell you, if they are struggling, we do every page, and we will slow it down. And if they have to start on Monday on like E, then that is what they will do. But if they're like, oh, I got this, I completely understand, they might do A, and then they might do C, and then they might do D, which has the review, and then they could do E in a test. We usually do the tests, and I think I'm going to work my way towards that, but I'm going to tell you, with my youngest son, I really haven't pushed the tests. I really just, his Delta test book was really not overly used. Sometimes I would just use the last lesson as the final test, because it is going to be similar. Everything that they've done on these last 2 pages will be what the test is about. So that just gives you an idea. If they understand it, they can move on. They can go A, make sure they understand it. C, make sure you always do D, even if they do C and D in the same day, because it is going to have the review, and the review will be on the next 2 pages and the test. They don't want to miss that. Sometimes it might be something simple. Sometimes it might be something, oh, I need to make sure I remember how to do that. So that is the most important key, because some people will be like, okay, we did A, B, and C, let's take the test. And they miss out on what's really important. They really need to do, I would say, D and E before they did a test. If that is one of my biggest suggestions, is do D and at least do E or F. Maybe for fun, do F instead. Or do E and F if that makes you feel better and they need that extra practice before they take the test. So I hope that was a little bit helpful on how that works. And remember, you will watch this video, this DVD. I always watch it with my children. And even when they got into the older grades, pre-algebra, I definitely still watched it with them. Now, the more you do this and the more you've seen the pre-algebra video, you will understand it. So you may not need to watch it with your 3rd or 4th kid, but definitely the first time through, try to watch all the DVDs so you're familiar with what he's teaching. And remember, everything he taught will be in the teacher's guide. And I did not mention the answers are in the back for the tests and for the lessons. And I usually keep a little tab there so it's easy to flip through. As they get older, especially in high school, I let them look up their own answers and make sure that they're right. But I'm going to give you a couple high school suggestions. Okay. My one that just graduated in his 11th grade year took geometry. I don't have the student book because he went through that. DVDs, teacher's book. He did fine with it. He had not used it since pre-algebra. So then he used a couple different things and then came back to this for geometry. But this is just a suggestion. If your son or daughter still struggles, I actually gave him this book, but I pulled out the answers because I wanted him to freely, he would watch the video, but I wanted him to be able to look at the teacher's guide freely without feeling like tempted by the answers. Because I just wanted him to get it. And I think that helped because I would look over his test because I had the answers and he was doing okay with it. So, wanted to share that thought with you. My oldest was not like that. He was determined to figure it out if he did get it wrong. But some kids just want to get through math because it is not their subject. So, that was geometry. And then my 10th grader will be doing the Algebra 2 this school year. And he took Algebra 1 last year. And if you go back and watch some of my videos, we are jumping back into Math UC from Saxon and CTC Math. I don't know. I just really felt led to come back to this. I talked to him about it. So we're going to go for it. He is fine with it. And it has the DVDs. My oldest son did this. And there's a list of everything that's in there. And I know you can go online and look at this also, because this is one reason I sort of was looking at this compared to CTC Math, making sure we were ending and starting. And I think he even may have done some of this already. So hopefully it'll all be some review at the beginning and he'll feel comfortable with it. It is, let me show you the student book for high school. Let me show you the test booklet. The rest of the test booklets, like, or the Epsilon, I mean, it pretty much just looks like I said, pages E and F. And then there's always word problems. But in the high school, it's going to give you multiple choice. That is how they do that, and from what I understand, it is to prepare for them for the ACT and just give them an idea. Now, my oldest, like I said, he had done Algebra 2, and what I would do, you know, he usually did pretty well, but if he got 1, 2, you know, he could get more than 2 wrong. I would ask him to go back and try to work it out and see if he could get the right answer, and usually he did. So I don't think it was that he didn't understand how to do it. It's just, you know, by the time you do all these problems, your brain is probably a little fried. So I'd give him that chance to go back, and then, but I'd only give him 1 chance. Or I would tell him, if you don't get it right this time, I have to count it wrong. All right, so I'm going to let you know that. That's my way of doing it. But you can do it, and they have unit tests as reviews also. Okay? So I hope that was a little bit helpful in giving you an idea of what the inside looks like. All right, I appreciate you all taking the time. I know that was a little long. I'm hoping it was insightful and helpful to some of you. So I appreciate you all watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.